it going, everybody? Matt Landon here. I'm the professor of jazz guitar in the Western Michigan University Jazz Studies Department, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about a concept I like to call the never-ending scale. So, the name is basically exactly what it is, but the application is there's a lot more implications. So, the idea is that no matter what harmony you're dealing with, whether it's functional, non-functional, different types of chords, whatever, the idea is just to trace a stepwise line through those keys. So this is actually not that dissimilar to the super, ultra, mega, meta, hyper Lydian scale, or whatever it's called, which, if you know what that is, it's just tracing a line through the circle of fifths. So if you start on C, you play the first three notes of C, and then you start playing it as if it were Lydian, which puts you in G, basically. And then you do the same thing with the notes of G. You play G Lydian, puts you in D. So you can think C, G, D, A, E, B, all the way around the circle. So this is not that dissimilar to that. It's actually the same exact thing. It's just we're applying it to different types of chords and different types of relations. So one good way to practice this before you start trying to apply it to a tune is just to pick 4 randomly selected keys and draw a stepwise motion through it. So let's pick G major, B major, D flat major, and A major. But for the purposes of trying to liberate ourselves from thinking about these things as tonal centers, let's start on A. We're going to play the same notes of the G major scale. We can call it a G major pitch collection, but we're going to start on A. And the reason we do that is to help solidify this idea with this concept that all of the notes in each pitch collection are of equal importance. You know, we're usually taught to think of things in terms of root, third, fifth, seventh. But with this, since it's all stepwise, it's actually more important to think about things as all equally valid and equally important. So, starting on A, G major pitch collection, we would play 4 notes each, 4 notes of each pitch collection. We're going to play A, B, C, D, and then our next pitch collection was B major, so the next closest note in that pitch collection would be D sharp. D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp. Our next pitch collection was D flat, so the next closest note in that pitch collection would be B flat, E flat, C, D flat, E flat. Then our last pitch collection was A, so the next closest pitch to E flat would be E. E, F sharp, G sharp, A. And then if we want to go back to G, the next closest note would be B. So again, that line through those key centers, G, B, D flat, A, and back to G. I should have said through those pitch collections, not those key centers. So yeah, you might be thinking, how do I apply this to a tune then? So that's where it gets a little bit more tricky. You have to think about things in terms of the changing modes of these different chord types. You can't think of them all as major scales. So say if we had a 2-5-1 in B flat, that's C minor, some kind of F7, and B flat, major 7. So it gets interesting and fun when you start actually thinking different types of modes that you're drawing a stepwise motion through. So we could think C Dorian, starting on C here, we could think C Dorian, but then when we get to the dominant chord, we could think altered. So that would be, and that resolves really nicely to the third of B flat major. So that line again. You can try this starting on different chord tones. And now altered. It almost always resolves to a pretty note. So it's something that you can apply to a lot of different types of functional tunes, but it starts to really help and really serve you well in tunes that are not functional. So say if we had a tune like Along Came Betty. it has a lot of kind of chromatic 2/5 and chromatic movement, if you know that tune. And if you draw just a stepwise motion through these, it sounds pretty nice, you know. So if we just start on B flat minor here, and then B minor, B flat minor, B minor, A major, A flat dominant, G major, F sharp major, or dominant, and then we would be at F sharp minor there. So then it starts to sound like, you know, you're hitting those changes, but you're just playing a scale. So this really helps limber up your scalar movement and your idea of what's possible based on what's nearby. You know, it kind of deals with this proximity rule. Sometimes what we want to do, instead of jumping around so much, is just play what's nearby. That makes it a little bit more sing-songy, but we also want to be able to acknowledge the harmony. So this is a good way to do that. But the best use of this in actual application is sparingly. It's not something that you only want to do. When you're practicing it, of course, just do it like that through a whole tune, multiple tunes, just stepwise motion. But when it comes to actually playing with other people, just like with everything else, you want to use it sparingly. You want to use it in conjunction with some other things. So that might sound something like this on the same tune, the long hand Betty. 1, 2, You know, so you're going in and out of these stepwise lines that trace through these different chords. And when you do it in conjunction with some more intervallic stuff, it starts to sound like jazz. It starts to sound really nice. So this is kind of a very surface level look at this concept. There's a lot more to say here, but I wanted to kind of get some juices flowing, give you some practicing ideas. So if you have any questions, feel free to please reach out to me at matthew.w.landon@wmich.edu. And as always, happy practicing.